Swords clash, arrows fly, and battle cries fill the air. Two tribes, Talon and Windclan, are locked in a brutal struggle, a feud stretching back farther than anyone can remember. Exhausted by relentless bloodshed, we meet the weary leaders. Chief Kyle, the stoic defender of Talon, and Chief Anya, the determined protector of Windclan. Can a forced marriage bring peace to these sworn enemies? Today, we unravel the tale of the marriage of rivals, a story of sacrifice, courage, and the unexpected paths to unity. We'll uncover lesser-known twists and turns that could have changed the destiny of these two proud tribes. If you love tales of bravery, forbidden love, and the surprising ways history can unfold, stay tuned. Welcome to Whispers of Yesterday, where we breathe life back into legends. If you're new, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the thrilling conclusion of The Marriage of Rivals. Fields once rich with harvest now lie trampled and scarred. Empty homes echo with the cries of loved ones lost, a grief shared by Talon and Windclan alike. Young warriors, who should be building lives and families, are cut down in their prime. Fear and hunger gnaw at both tribes. Chief Anya surveys her dwindling forces, her warrior spirit heavy with the burden of each life lost. Chief Kale, known for his unbreakable resolve, sees doubt creep into the eyes of his once proud people. For years, hatred has fueled this feud. Yet now they face a grim truth. In this endless war, there will be no true victor. Whispers of desperation pass between the elders. Could there be a way to end this cycle of bloodshed? It's a risky, unthinkable notion. But could the key to survival lie with their greatest enemy? Driven by desperation, the unthinkable happens. A white flag, a symbol of surrender, yet in this case, a symbol of fragile hope. Under the watchful eyes of their wary warriors, Chief Kale and Chief Anya meet on neutral ground. The air crackles with tension, pride and suspicion warring with the shared exhaustion etched across their faces. For generations, the sight of one another has meant only battle. Now, forced by circumstance, they must find words beyond insults, a path beyond the bloodshed. Anya speaks first, her voice strong, yet carrying a hint of a tremor. We bleed ourselves dry. This feud, it must end. Kale nods grimly. For the sake of our people, for our children. His voice trails off, the unspoken words hanging in the air. Can they trust each other? Gamble the very survival of their tribes on a hope so fragile it might shatter at a single harsh word? A silence hangs heavy, broken only by the rustling wind. It's Anya who finally shatters it, her next words radical, even to her own ears. A union between our children. Kyle stares at her in shock. A marriage alliance, a bond between the bloodlines of their rival tribes. It's a desperate act, a gamble with the highest stakes imaginable. Yet beneath the shock, a flicker of something stirs. Could it be a desperate kind of hope? He knows his son Rion, as proud and strong-willed as any in Talon. Anya sees in her daughter Amara a sharp mind and a spirit that bends but never truly breaks. It's a gamble, one that could ignite an even greater feud, or perhaps, just perhaps, offer a lifeline amidst the seemingly endless storm. Your son, Anya's voice is steady, will wed my daughter. Not a request, but a statement, a challenge laid down. All eyes turn to Kale. This decision could mean salvation, or doom them all. Word of the marriage alliance reaches Rion amidst the clang of training swords. At first he thinks it a cruel joke. Marry into the enemy tribe? Abandon his life in Talon for a future among the hated Windclan? Fury ignites within him, swiftly followed by cold dread. Far away, Amara receives the news with a defiant scoff. Become a pawn in this political game, forced to leave all she knows for the territory of blood rivals. Her sharp wit plots 100 ways to resist, to outsmart her captors. To her, this isn't a path to peace, it's a gilded cage. The two young heirs, unaware of the other's defiance, stand unknowingly united in their shared determination. This wedding, they vow, will never be a true marriage. Though their purpose is peace, the seeds of a different kind of conflict are sown. Rion's entrance into WindClan territory is met with a wall of cold stares. Every WindClan warrior sees him not as a symbol of peace, but as the son of their hated enemy. His welcome into Anya's own dwelling is strained, filled with unspoken doubts and barely concealed hostility. Amara's journey into Talon territory is no better. Whispers of traitor bride precede her. The elders watch with veiled distrust, the younger warriors with open resentment. Chief Kale's own household is divided. Some obey their leader, others see Amara as a poisonous serpent brought into their nest. Each meal shared is a tense battleground for Rion and Amara. Every custom is foreign, a trap waiting to be sprung. They are prisoners in luxurious cages, surrounded by their supposed new families, yet utterly alone. For Rion, every action feels treacherous. The rhythms of WindClan life are a minefield. He stumbles over prayers meant for unfamiliar gods, offends with gifts traditional to Talon, but deemed insulting here. Anya watches, frustrated, seeing not willful defiance but the genuine confusion of someone raised in a world wholly opposite her own. Amara faces similar trials. The strict hierarchy of Talon, the expectation of silent obedience from women, chafes against her WindClan-born independence. Her attempts to learn are met with ridicule, her every word scrutinized for hidden insults against her new tribe. Even simple acts, how to dress, how to eat, how to greet others, become sources of embarrassment and heightened tensions. Rion and Amara begin to understand that this forced peace is a war fought on a different battlefield, with every awkward step a potential battle lost. A careless word overheard, a misinterpreted gesture. The embers of the old feud are quick to reignite. During a sparring session, Rion's move, celebrated in Talon, is deemed a deliberate insult to WindClan warriors. Their retaliation is swift and brutal, leaving him wounded and fueling accusations of treachery. Amara finds herself accused of theft when a Talon heirloom goes missing. Her fierce denials are seen as further proof of WindClan's deceitful nature. Though the item is later found, misplaced by a child, the damage is done. Trust, already fragile, breaks a little more. These clashes aren't always grand battles. They are in the icy silences around the dinner table, the pointed avoidance in the village square. With each incident, the dream of peace seems to crumble further, and both Rion and Amara begin to understand that they might be the match that sets both tribes ablaze. Just as despair threatens to consume both Rion and Amara, a new danger emerges, a threat that could shatter the fragile peace they're struggling to build. Whispers turn to panicked warnings. Extremists from within each tribe, those who have profited from the long-standing war, are plotting a joint attack. These renegades, fueled by hatred and fear of change, plan to strike during a key ceremony meant to solidify the alliance. Their goal, to reignite the flames of war, to ensure their own power by plunging the tribes back into chaos. The news explodes like a bomb. Rion and Amara, despite their animosity, are shaken to the core. This isn't just about forced marriages and cultural clashes anymore. Lives hang in the balance, and the fragile trust they've begun to build could be the only weapon against a very real threat. Fear grips both tribes as the attack looms. But amidst the panic, something unexpected stirs. For the first time, Rion sees beyond the suspicious WindClan warrior to the frightened parent, the brother desperate to protect his sister. Amara witnesses not just the resentment of the Talon elder, but the fear behind their harsh words. They begin to understand that they've been fighting shadows, not people. Necessity forces them together. Rion's knowledge of Talon tactics and Amara's WindClan insight prove invaluable as they begin planning a defense. Old rivalries are momentarily abandoned as their combined knowledge becomes a weapon stronger than any sword. For the first time, they communicate without hostility, finding a strange synergy born of desperation. The grudging respect, born from witnessing each other's skills in this shared crisis, feels more potent than any arranged alliance. In the heart of danger, Rion witnesses Amara's cunning mind at work. Her strategizing is sharp, ruthless even, honed on a different battlefield than his own. Yet, he begrudgingly admits its effectiveness. There's a calculated bravery in her that he's forced to admire. Amara, forced to rely on Rion's knowledge of Talon's defenses, sees past the stubborn pride she'd despised. His strength isn't just brute force, but a protective instinct as fierce for Talon as her own is for Windclan. She watches him fight, not with the hatred she expected, but with a warrior's detached analysis, finding grudging respect in his skill. Theirs is a partnership born of necessity, not fondness. Yet, when a stray arrow nearly takes Amara's life, and it's Rion who leaps to shield her, something shifts. When a Windclan warrior sacrifices himself to protect Rion, another crack forms in the wall of hatred they've built. This isn't about a forced marriage anymore. This is about shared survival, about witnessing unexpected courage in the heart of your oldest enemy. The aftermath of the thwarted attack, as the tribes cautiously mend their wounds. Rion and Amara find themselves in a strange limbo. They've seen their own tribes in a new light. Talon warriors showing vulnerability as they weep for their fallen comrades. Windclan elders offering Rion quiet gestures of gratitude. Late one night, they find themselves sharing stories by firelight, not boasts and insults, but tales of childhood, of quiet traditions long held by their people. The human masks begin to replace the enemy ones. Rion tells of his father's hopes for a future beyond war, a confession met not with scorn, but with the mirrored echo of Anya's own quiet longings. They discuss not battles, but beliefs. They speak of fears for their uncertain futuries, of the longing for something more than the endless cycle of hatred. They don't reach a grand understanding. The wounds of generations are too deep for that. But they light a tiny candle of empathy in the darkness, a fragile flame, yet one that casts a different light on everything that came before. The extremists had counted on the tribes falling apart, on their old hatreds flaring at the first sign of trouble. Instead, they witnessed something unexpected. Rion, son of Talon, stands side by side with Amara, defending her people as if they were his own. His fierce loyalty isn't misplaced. It transcends the lines drawn in blood long ago. The tribes see this. They hear the stories whispered among the weary warriors, tales of shared sacrifice, of begrudging respect earned on a battlefield none desired. Where once they saw only an enemy, they begin to see people trapped in a cycle just as they were. Inspired by Rion and Amara's defiant unity, the chiefs move with renewed purpose. Those who conspired against peace are swiftly dealt with. Their voices of hatred, once rallying cries, are now drowned out by the desire for a different future. It's a tentative turning point, a hesitant bridge built across a chasm of old wounds. But with Rion and Amara as its strange, unwilling architects, it marks a shift. The war may be won, but this marriage alliance is where a true battle for peace begins. The battle against the extremists is fierce, fueled by desperation on both sides. Talon and Windclan, forced to fight as one, discover a devastating power in their unity. Though warriors are lost and victory is bittersweet, they drive back the forces driven by hate. As they survey the field, exhausted but alive, something settles over the two tribes. Hatred hasn't disappeared, not fully, but it is now tempered with a grim understanding of what's lost when old prejudices dictate lives. Chief Anya looks across the battlefield at Kael, and for the first time, there's something beyond wariness in her glance. Perhaps it's the beginning of respect. Kael meets her gaze, the grim satisfaction of survival tinged with a strange sense of possibility. They've won the first true victory of this unlikely alliance, and though the path ahead is fraught with uncertainty, it's a path no longer walked alone. In the days that follow, a strange quiet descends between Talon and Windclan. The fighting has ceased, but true peace feels distant. However, gestures speak louder than words sometimes. Wounded Windclan warriors are treated by Talon healers. Supplies are shared without question. Young children, emboldened by a curiosity stronger than inherited fear, begin to venture across the lines, their laughter bringing an unexpected sound to the scarred landscape. Elders share stories, not of past battles, but of harvests and traditions before the great feud tore them apart. Rion finds himself teaching Windclan boys the sword forms of Talon. His harsh commands are soon interrupted by laughter, as rivalry turns into a playful competition. Amara, always watchful, spots a group of Talon women learning the intricate Windclan weaving patterns, their chatter filled with curiosity more than scorn. These are not grand declarations of peace, but small acts of human connection. They are the fragile roots of respect, of recognizing a shared humanity beyond the labels of enemy that have been ingrained for too long. The forced marriage had been the centerpiece of this tense alliance, yet as Rion and Amara stand amidst the rebuilding efforts, their own relationship has quietly transformed. They are no longer defiant strangers trapped in a gilded cage. Now, they are comrades in arms, their hands bearing the same calluses, their hearts the same weary hope for a better future. There's no grand romance, no sudden declarations of love wiping away the years of animosity, but there is an unspoken understanding, a shared knowledge of what it means to sacrifice everything for one's people. In those brief glances across the rebuilding villages, there is begrudging respect, perhaps even the tentative beginnings of friendship. They've found a strange balance amidst the chaos. Their banter is still sharp-edged, their old differences a potential minefield. Yet, late one evening, they share a meal not as enemies, but as two young people weary of war, finding surprising solace in reluctant company. Their connection isn't born of shared ideals, but of shared burdens and a desperate longing for a different tomorrow. It's a fragile thing, easily shattered, but it's a connection nonetheless. The day of the wedding arrives, and it's nothing like the cold political act it was first intended to be. News has traveled far and wide, whispers of the unlikely alliance, of the children of rival chiefs standing against their own people for the dream of peace. It's this spirit that draws a crowd. The ceremony itself is a mix of Talon and Windclan customs, a strange, beautiful blend born of necessity. As Rion and Amara exchange their vows, their voices are strong, not with forced obedience, but with determined hope. They are not starry-eyed lovers, but architects of a fragile future. There are still dissenters, those who cling to the old hatreds. But as Chief Kyle and Chief Anya stand together, a hush falls. Their pride hasn't vanished, but it is tempered by a quiet understanding of the journey ahead. When they raise their hands in a gesture of unity, the crowd erupts. The cheers are tentative at first, then gain strength, fueled by the desperate need to believe in something more than war. This wedding is not the end of the story, merely a chapter's close. But in this celebration, a symbol flickers to life, the fragile, impossible hope of a peaceful tomorrow. The years that follow are not without hardship. Old feuds die slowly and new challenges arise. But Talon and Windclan face them together. They share knowledge, pooling their strengths to rebuild homes and cultivate ravaged fields. Joint training sessions for young warriors hone skills and foster cautious friendships where rivalry once raged. Rion and Amara, bound by their unlikely marriage, become linchpins of this new era. They are not adored by all, but they are respected. Their arguments are legendary, their compromises begrudging yet remarkably effective. Children grow up playing between the villages, learning customs of both tribes. They hear whispers of the old days of the great battle, but the stories are tinged with bewilderment, no longer a rallying cry. The past is not forgotten, but neither does it dictate the future. As the years turn, Rion and Amara themselves become something akin to living legends. They are heroes with tarnished edges, reminders of both sacrifice and stubborn determination. Theirs was never a storybook romance, but a testament to the hard work that peace demands. Occasionally, a young couple from opposing villages will bravely come forth, seeking Rion and Amara's blessing. Their union will be met with less hostility, their path smoother because of those who dared to walk the impossible road first. In fireside tales, their story is told and retold. Children act out grand battles, but the heroes are no longer divided into Windclan and Talon. The hero is Rion, wielding his Talon's strength alongside Amara's cunning strategy. They are a single legend, their names intertwined like the roots of an ancient tree. The story of the marriage of rivals is not just a tale of the past, but a whisper of what might be. It reminds us that even the most deeply entrenched hatreds can falter under the weight of a shared goal, a shared humanity. True, it is love, in its many complex forms, that built a bridge between Rion and Amara. Love for their people, love for a future unmarred by constant bloodshed. But it was also understanding, a hard-fought understanding of the other that paved the way toward a different tomorrow. Their tale may be unique in its drama, yet echoes of it exist everywhere. Where there's shared laughter after shared tears, hesitant trust built over time, the willingness to see past labels of enemy. There, the spirit of Rion and Amara lives on. It's a reminder that peace isn't a fragile dream, but a hard-won reality, built on countless small acts of courage and empathy. And with that said, thank you for watching, and until next time.